welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from Behatilife. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your weekly forecast for the week of July 8th or 9th, 2018. You think I would have this, oh yes, no, July 9th of 2018. Now this week is going to be filled with astrological events. I'm not kidding. This makes so much sense because last week when I was filming the video for the week ahead, I received the message that we were going to have gates swinging open, that the energy was going to shift, it was going to start getting a whole lot lighter, and I don't know if it was because I didn't look into the future chart that I couldn't understand why I was feeling that and seeing that, but now all of a sudden all of the pieces are falling together, and this is the week that I was talking about. Like last week I said, I can see it happening. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can feel the light at the end of the tunnel, but I just felt like it wasn't going to start that week, that it would start this week, and here we are in this week, and here it's happening. So bear with me because I'm very excited. I'm on another level of excitement when it comes to this week because I feel like this is the week that you and I have been waiting for a long time. And the reason why this is because Jupiter is going to be moving direct, and then we have this new moon, this stunning new moon in the sign of Cancer, which has its complications, but you guys already know how I interpret complications and difficulties within the charts. You can, if you're right, if you're powerful, and if you know what it is that you're working with, you're able to work alchemy to make a negative thing your tool, your key, the thing that you need in order to open the gate that's been stuck there and doesn't want to move and swing open for too long. So Jupiter was retrograde since March 8th. Now, you already know how I feel about retrograde planets. They are not always negative, just like a planet going direct is not always positive. Everything has pluses and minuses to it. So I did have a video about Jupiter moving into the sign of Scorpio. I'll link that down below so you can get the details of that. But Jupiter went retrograde starting March 8th, I believe, of this year in the sign of Scorpio. And what I saw was, and what I expected was, number one, a dialing back of our growth and our expansion, which some of you guys groaned at the idea of that initially, but it was essentially exactly what it is that we needed, because we have been growing, and expanding and doing the most, and it's really important that there be balance with everything. The universe, the cosmos knows this and likes to turn those planets retrograde to remind you of the importance of letting go, of letting God, and lifting your feet up for a moment and just floating. So that's what was happening, and that's what has been happening as Saturn was retrograde, Pluto was retrograde, Mars was retrograde, Jupiter was retrograde, all the planets were retrograde, Mercury's soon going to be retrograde, but that's not a bad thing at all. And remind me to do a video about Mercury retrograde, the blessings behind that, even though at this point, if you're an old family Bahati Vibe Tribe member, you know all the benefits of Mercury retrograde. But for those of you guys who are brand new to the channel, you need to hear all of the benefits of Mercury going retrograde. But that's a topic for another discussion, because right now we're talking about this week. So when Jupiter finally moves direct, what we have is exactly what I said initially, which is this gate starts to swing open. And what has been happening is so much of your life, mine included, so much of many of your lives has been revolving around rebuilding, restructuring, and doing things differently. Now, this requires incredible amount of flexibility and faith on your part, because a lot of the things that it is that you're working on are things that I see that you are committed to, that you're invested in. And this is relationships, this is work, this is your health, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. Family issues. People have seen family dynamics break down, relationships break down, careers, you know, kind of crash and burn. Why is this? Because the cosmos, the universe, the higher power, whatever it is that you want to call it, is super on your side, benevolent to the max, and wants you to be in the right place at the right time. And you can't do that if you're stuck in stagnant situations that are not serving you or not working for your highest and greatest good. If you're not flexible, then you become rigid. Then it makes it impossible for you to let go and to float into exactly where it is that you're supposed to be. It's very important that you trust and that you follow your intuition, even though logically sometimes it doesn't make sense. So when Jupiter goes direct, what we have is some gifts that have been lying there dormant, that have been lying there building and collecting energy, that are now going to start to trickle in. At first it's a little trickle, and then it'll be a little bit more like turning the tap water on, and then all of a sudden it'll kind of gush right in. So I really want you guys to keep your eyes open for what you see growing in your life. If you start seeing growth and expansion happening after July 10th, 2018, then you know that this is Jupiter trying to give to you, the blessings and the gifts that it has actually been working to collect for you. Even the planets need time to collect energy in order to give you the most. They don't want to give you half-assed gifts. They don't want to give you half-assed blessings, especially if you have been setting intentions and working your magic and focusing on manifestation. The planets are not going to be like, okay, you know, she wrote down her intentions, so I'm going to give her half of what it is that she wants. The planets don't do that, especially not Jupiter. Jupiter wants to throw a huge party on your behalf and say, yo, you deserve this because you listened to me. You heeded my advice. You listened to my counsel. You worked with the energy of the planets and you weren't fighting against it. Now, if you were fighting against these planets, then Jupiter going direct is probably 9 times out of 10 going to kick your butt. Why? Because if you're not ready to swim, and if you're not strong enough to swim, him opening up the gates is like the dam breaking and the water comes rushing in. So do you see how there's a positive to it and a negative to it? If you're working with the planets, the energy of the planets, then you should be good. If you've been working against it and not listening to my advice or the advice of whatever astrologer that it is that you're working with, or if you're not following your own intuition, your own vibe, then chances are you are going to sink versus swim. So what we want to do, or what I want to do, my intention is to get you to be able to ride the wave like the surfer to your destination instead of trying to fight against the wave that's coming in. Get on your surfboard and let it take you to the shore and ride that in to infinity and beyond. That's what I want you guys to do. So, yeah, Jupiter moving through the sign of Scorpio, for the most part, again, I feel like I'm a broken record when I say this, but it wants you to have quality over quality over quantity. It wants you to make sure that the things, the people, the jobs, your life, your home environment, that it is something of substance and value. Scorpio does not do superficial in any way, shape, or form. So it's going to give you what is worth it, which in a lot of ways requires your work. It requires you to be open. It requires you to be vulnerable. It requires you to understand the depth of your soul and your spirit. Why? Because Scorpio energy wants so much more than what the other signs can give to you, and Jupiter is highlighting that. Jupiter expands that, so it's making it known to you. So this is why we are seeing, and we have seen, certain relationships falling apart, or at least being tested. Maybe your relationship didn't fall apart during this time period, or maybe your career didn't fall apart during this time period, but it was tested because you needed to do things differently in order to prepare for the abundance of what is to come within that relationship, that career, your health, etc., etc. So let's say you have trips that you want to plan, because Jupiter loves exploration. It wants to teach you. It wants you to experience. It wants you to go out, to grow, and to glow. So let's say that there is trips that you were planning or things that you wanted to do. This is when those trips start taking place. But again, they're not just superficial trips. They're trips that are going to change your life and impact it for the better. 9 times out of 10, the trips that you take are going to be connected to karma. So I don't know if you've heard a little thing called astrocartography, but what this is the planets telling you within your chart, you need to go here, you're going to go here, and it'll show you why you have to go there, why you need to be there, and what's going to happen. For some of you guys, it's like an increase in your career. Others, it's where you're going to find true love. Others, it's where you go on the adventures of your lifetime. And for others, it's where you get in a car accident, you break your legs, just temporarily, but it's everything that you needed to do in order to become your highest and greatest version. I don't know, the universe has an interesting way of bringing certain things into our lives to teach us, to grow us, to make us our best version, and it has a weird way of doing it. But either way, astrocartography is the placement, how you being in a new spot changes circumstances that go on around you. So what I'm seeing is people being now, after July 10th, planning trips, following their vibe, following their heart, and going at the right place at the right time, and expanding their knowledge, expanding their perspective, and experiencing things that they normally wouldn't have when Jupiter was retrograde. Now keep in mind, Jupiter being retrograde during that time, it was very important that those trips that you were trying to plan or that you were trying to take, depending on your chart. Now remember, this is a general reading for a general audience. This is just what's going on in the cosmos. I'm not looking directly at your chart, and if you need me to look directly at your chart, the links for that for a reading are down below. But for those of you guys that were thinking about taking trips and saw those things kind of like falling apart, or maybe they weren't as impactful as you thought that they would, that's because Jupiter in a lot of ways wants you to lay back. It wants you to chill, just like Mars is currently retrograde at the time of me filming this video. Mars is our action, our ambition, and how we do what we do. Mars being retrograde says, I need you to relax. I need you to take your foot off of the gas, and I need you to coast. I need you to coast, I need you to relax, and we want to take you where we want you to be. It's not always you pushing, it's not always you doing. Sometimes we have to give your spirit, your energy, the chance and the opportunity to take you where you need to go. So that's what I see this week. Also on Tuesday, I love this, and I deserve this, and my earth signs and my water signs deserve this so much. Venus moves into the sign of Virgo. Venus rules the things that we're attracted to. Venus rules the things, beauty and aesthetic and love and relationships, and Virgo is just purification. I'm quite partial because I'm a Virgo. I'm a Virgo, but this is when Virgo energy in general just gets highlighted and just lights up for the most part. So shout out to my Virgos. This is a great time for my earth signs, my water signs, but definitely my Virgos to do treatments on yourself, take care of yourself, treat yourself like a goddess, get your hair cut, do whatever it is. This is all about you perfecting you. And it's not just my Virgos, even though Venus is shining some light on Virgos specifically during this time, but starting July 10th. But it's all of us across the board. This is about perfecting your image, tailoring your image, being more self-reflective on how is it that I'm coming across, being more specific and detailed about your appearance, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel confident, what makes you feel like a king or a queen, and honoring that and bringing that into your daily routine. Virgo needs to have routine, it needs to have structure, it needs to have planned, you know, things making sense, and it's not so in your face, but that's what makes it so magical and so beautiful and so stunning, because it's subtle beauty, it's delicate beauty, and that delicacy, if that's the right word, is powerful, and that's what turns heads for Virgo energy. The other thing that I see is really simple, beautiful dates. So if you're in love or if you're dating or looking for love, definitely go to spots like little gardens, maybe a yoga class, maybe Whole Foods. I'm not kidding. It's all about areas that are the betterment of the self and make you feel good. Virgo really has its hands in the dirt and is the sign of a gardener in a lot of ways. So if you're out in like lush gardens and spending time outdoors in nature, doing you know, beautiful things, spending time with small animals, you could find someone at a pet shop. I'm not kidding. Walking your dog at the park. It's very, very simple activities that can bring in love and bring in pleasure and bring in abundance. So make sure that you add those onto your list and make them a priority. If you normally let your dog go out in the backyard, then take your pup out for a walk. Why am I saying dogs? Because Virgo rules smaller animals, and when Venus moves into the sign of Virgo, this is where people are most likely able to find love, or at least to enhance their love life, or the things that it is that they find beautiful. So that's another thing. If you are looking for a small pet, this new moon that's coming in, if it falls in your 6th house, chances are, or a high chance, if you're looking for a pet, this is the time for you to find the animal of your dreams. Most often a small animal, because again, Virgo rules smaller animals like dogs, cats, hamsters, guinea pigs, and goats. And the 12th house sits directly opposite, rules larger animals, cows, horses, camels, elephants. I don't know. If you have an elephant, that's Crazy. Where do you live? That would be so amazing. I would like to pet it. Okay, so that's what I see for Virgo moving in, well, Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. It just is going to be good all the way around. Monday, I'm going to take a step back. On Monday the 9th, Mercury ruling communication is going to be squaring Jupiter. Mercury is currently in the sign of Leo. Oh my God, so we have to be careful with this, and this is probably why I'm so chitty chatty today and able to power through this video even though the moon is currently void of course as we speak. So I don't know if you know, but if the moon is void of course, it's not really a good time to start any projects because you tend to poop out or they just don't really take off. But I have a lot of energy right now. I have a lot of energy, and it's probably because, again, like I said, Mercury is falling in the sign of Leo. It has a lot to say, it has a lot to express, it has a lot of energy, and it's squaring Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of abundance. Jupiter currently at this moment in time is retrograde, but we're going to be feeling this most of the week, most of the beginning half of the week, and I want to be generous with it, so I want to say up until Thursday. So what happens here is this is someone who is prone to exaggerate, someone who's prone to talk with their hands a lot, kind of what you see me doing right now, someone who is speaking larger than life, can be, I don't want to say sarcastic, but can kind of blurt things out, talk faster than they think, those types of things, so you really want to be careful of that. Sometimes it can rub people the wrong way because you come across ostentatious is the word that I'll use. You come across very egocentric. It's hard for you to check yourself. So check yourself before you wreck yourself this week. Don't walk into a meeting, especially with Jupiter currently going direct. We have this tendency to be boom in your face. So don't walk into a meeting being so confident, overly confident. It is going to rub people the wrong way. But if you need to think big, if you need to brainstorm big ideas, then this is going to work really perfectly on your behalf. In fact, before I got started this video, I had an amazing idea that I'm going to share with my assistant Leah that we're going to talk about later on. I can't wait to talk to her about it. Oh, it's going to be so amazing! But I have to give the credit to Mercury squaring Jupiter, which probably gave me that. Mercury sitting in the sign of Leo is very creative and expressive and artistic. So if you, and Jupiter sitting in the sign of Scorpio is all about power and intimacy and sensuality and taking it to the next level. So if you can work that to your benefit, then you've got something magical in your hands, especially with Jupiter currently going direct, wanting to work for you and not against you. Also keep in mind that if you do have ideas and projects that you're thinking about, wait for Mars to go direct to start them. I can't remember when Mars goes direct at this moment, but I will link that down below in the comments or in the description box. But for now, just keep brainstorming those ideas, write them down in a journal, in a book, and keep building them up while Mars is also gaining energy. So as Mars gains energy and as your ideas build, when Mars finally goes direct, take that energy and those ideas and run with it. I just talked to someone the other day on the 4th of July. If you're watching, girl, shout out to you. But she was starting a project, a nonprofit organization, and she was telling me all these ideas, and I was like, oh, I gotta stop you there. Mars is currently retrograde. Don't wreck yourself. Like, I can already tell that you have a lot of other stuff going on. This is my first time meeting her. I didn't know any details of her life, but you guys already know I pick up on vibes. So she was like, how did you know? And I was like, girl, just know that I know. So then I told her to put that project off. And the day that I told her, I said the week that it was that I told her to start and launch her nonprofit organization is actually the only week when her schedule would actually be clear and would be able to support a project of that nature. But she was just so full of ideas and things that she wanted to do that she was just trying to get the ball rolling. And I said, just don't. It's, keep writing your ideas down, but don't start it until this day. And she was like, this makes so much sense. Thank you so much, Jess. And no, thank you. Thank you. So that being said, moving forward on the 12th, Venus currently moving through the sign, then at the time moving through the sign of Virgo is going to be trine Uranus. Now this is really, really awesome because this is a great time to go for a date. This is a great time to start thinking about love, magic, and bringing in love of a different level or taking your relationship to the next level. Why? Because the new moon is right after it and the energy has been building up. The new moon is what I've been waiting for. This new moon This new moon is exactly what I've been waiting for. So many of these planets are currently in the right position to start new projects and to set the intention for the next phase in your life. Yes, currently Mars and Saturn and Pluto are retrograde, and well, was Jupiter, but they are larger planets, and it's okay to start to set intention and to work your magic even though Mars is currently retrograde. The other planets are exactly where it is that you need to be, and it's okay because Saturn is going to restructure and you know, realign certain things. Pluto is working to help evolve you. So all of those pieces, when I'm looking at the chart, they make a recipe for powerful intention. I know the rest of the internet is telling you right now that Mars, Pluto, and Saturn being retrograde are a negative thing, but also the rest of the internet is misinformed and they don't know what they're talking about at the time. Like, come on, I'm just gonna be real with you. So if you know how to work your magic, if you know how to create alchemy, taking all of the elements in order to make magic in that moment with at the right time, then you are an unstoppable force. You're an unstoppable magic maker. You're an unstoppable manifester. You're an unstoppable witch, whatever it is that you want to call yourself. So, and I'm telling you right here in this moment, right in the now, that this new moon on Friday the 13th is the day. It's the day, and Venus trine Uranus creates you know, surprise encounters, people coming together. It's an amazing day for a date, that new moon especially. It's an amazing day to talk about your feelings. That's when someone sends you a text message and it's just like, yo, I've been thinking about you. You know, let's take our relationship to the next level. Or this is money coming in. This is a nice chunk of money that comes in and just makes you comfortable and can change your life. So this is people connecting to their purpose. This is people finding things that make their home beautiful and feel comfortable. I mean, the sky is the limit with this. It just all depends on what your chart is looking like and where these planets are currently falling within your chart. I get this question all the time. Jess, where do I check my chart? Where do I pull my chart? And if you ask me, I use astro.com, and I will link that down below. I get this question every time I make a video about astrology. I use astro.com. Astro.com, if you're listening, sponsor me, because I am promoting you so hard. Anytime anybody asks me about where I get my charts from and where I pull my charts from, I do not use software. Maybe I should. I have in the past, but I love astro.com. That's what I love. It is what it is, and that's what I recommend for you guys. It's the only one that's actually credible on the internet. Everything else could just walk away. Astro.com is where it's at. So astro.com, holler at me. Holler at me. Venus trine Uranus me. Slide into my DMs, astro.com. That being said, on the same day, the sun is going to be directly opposing Pluto, which can create a power struggle. But if you ask me, this also looks like people kind of grappling with their own ego. And that's a good thing, especially with the new moon following it, because it kind of pushes people into a vulnerable space. It requires you to assert yourself. It requires you to be your biggest advocate. It requires you to take control of the situation, you know, walking out of a space where things normally control you. This is where you step into a space where you control it. Of course, keep in mind that you don't want to be crazy and reckless with this. Also, because that can happen with the sun sitting directly opposing Pluto and Mercury squaring Jupiter, but for the most part, you're good. The other thing that I said, and this is what I'm going to leave on, is the fact that it's just such an awesome week for love and connecting with your heart's desires and money and value and beauty and just doing things for yourself. This is goddess energy activated all over this week. All over this week. This is the week that we've been waiting for. Venus is going to be trine Saturn. Saturn thinks about long-term, longevity. Even though Saturn is currently retrograde, it's still working to build for the future by changing the status quo. And when Venus and Saturn trine each other, which is going to happen exact on Saturday, but we're going to feel this the new moon. And the week to follow, oh my God, it's just so good. When they merge together in this way, we have commitment, we have falling in love and sticking with it and staying true with it and honoring it, and it's just goodness. It's money that doesn't just pay off in the here and the now. It's for the rest of this year, potentially, if you work your magic. So if I were you, I would set intention for magic. For money. I would set intention for security, for a beautiful home, for relationship stuff, whatever it is that you want for your relationship. Definitely step out of your normal box. Connect with your core. Connect with the core of what it is that you want. Remember, Jupiter says the sky is the limit, and Jupiter sitting in the sign of Scorpio says, what is it that your soul really wants? Twin flame, soulmate. Money, like legit, not even just like 10,000. It's like, well, we want security, we want generations of wealth. So what is that? What is the idea? What is the business? What is it that's going to take you there? Because every single one of us has infinite potential within us. With our ideas, we have gifts, and Jupiter wants to highlight that so that you can connect with it, so that you can be in a space of abundantly receiving all of the gifts of the universe. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing for you guys. I'm going to now start talking about the new moon that's happening in the sign of Cancer, because we have to dive into that, not in this video but in the next video. So make sure you're subscribed to Behatilife YouTube channel, and then you turn on your notifications. That way, as soon as I'm done and it's uploaded, you'll be the first to see it. I love you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.